Hi everyone, I'm back with an answer to a very frequently asked question, and that is most people ask, how do I know if my relationship is toxic, or how do I know if this person is toxic or narcissistic? So, first thing first, whenever we are discussing relationship, understand and realize there are always two or more people involved, and we are not here to judge and conclude. What we read on social media, or let's say we listen to 30 minutes, 20 minutes, 5 minutes video from someone like me, is really very generic. You need to take this information and see, does it really apply in context with the relationship, watching the behavior patterns of yourself and the people involved, and then come to an understanding. We still do not want to conclude that this person is toxic, because we are not here to judge anything. We are here to want to make things better, and usually we want to mend the relationships. We want to find the solution. Leaving and moving on is not always the best solution. It takes a lot of time to build something. To destruct, you just need one nail in the right place, and you can actually bring down the whole I would say pillar of trust. So whatever I say or anyone says, whatever you read on social media, especially with these fancy words like toxic relationship, narcissistic, and things like that, one has to be very, very careful. And we are not here to judge anyone. Let's say you genuinely discover that your person has certain issues, or you have certain issues. You can be the one who has the issue. Then we want to find out what is the solution. But to answer the question that how do I know if this is the right person, and whether what kind of behavior a person does that should be kind of a red flag for me, and understand that this person is toxic or is not going to work for me in the long run, and or I need to find a solution, right? So we always want to be solution oriented. In extreme cases, then of course you need to take some other kind of action in your relationship. First thing first is that if the person is aware of what they are doing and refusing to admit at least the part of the story which is their fault. It can't be always one person is wrong and 100% of the times the person is wrong. Always something leads to another, and it's like a chain of events that make you understand this is not going to work. But you can't decide and conclude that with just one or two behavior. But the first thing and foremost thing for you to recognize that the person can be a toxic person, and in the long run will not be really wanting to look for a solution, is that they usually come up with a statement that this is me and I can't do anything about it, or I'm not willing to change, or maybe they say I'm willing to change but they actually don't do it. So one thing is that their words don't match their actions. They say they love you, care for you, but they are not generous with their time when there is no generosity of action and intention for you, which means they are not emotionally, physically, mentally, financially, spiritually available to you. They say something, but their actions repeatedly shows that what they say and what they do are actually in two different directions. Most importantly, I would say, is when you don't feel safe with a person. It can be you don't feel safe emotionally with them, you don't feel safe financially with them, you always feel there is a hidden agenda, or they play some mental games with you, let's say gaslighting, the hot and cold. They're very unpredictable. You never know what would be their response, or rather their reaction in a situation. So you are always on the edge. So that this can cause you in the long run actually health issues, because your stress level will go up and your cortisol level will go up, and later on you may have a lot of health issues if this carries on. And the other thing is that they have major trust issues. They cannot simply trust you with any person, anyone. They are always questioning. They need proof for everything. and they're obsessively possessive. This kind of a person eventually would want to control you, and to control, they would most probably use manipulation. Either it is emotional manipulation, mental manipulation, and even financial manipulation. Like usually women will manipulate a man emotionally and or mentally, and usually men who are control freak will make you very dependent on them, will manipulate you financially. They make everything so available to you that you do not want, or you find that manipulation, that financial comfort becomes your actually familiar zone, and you do not want to take action and move from there. The other sign would be you simply cannot have a conversation, and also you can't have fun together. Every time you plan something, or there is an event or a celebration, it turns out ugly, or one of you ends up creating a situation which is unpleasant. The celebration ends in either some kind of argument, bringing memories of the past, bringing topics which are unpleasant, and eventually you dread being together or wanting have fun together, because every time the fun moments eventually leads to something which are not good. Or if the only way of having fun is by you being intoxicated and really not knowing where you are, what you are doing, not being able to have healthy conversations with each other, and every conversation will lead to something unpleasant and blame game or pointing fingers at each other. Then people who have no control over their anger, and their reaction in the time of anger is extreme. They have basically unresolved anger issues, and they simply cannot have a grip of their temper. Another thing is that when the person manipulates you and makes you believe that the whole world is an unsafe place, that you cannot rely on anyone or anything, they will isolate you from the people who are your support system, who are your friends and family, and they will exercise control with initially showing a lot of love, basically love bombing you. And once they realize you're mentally and emotionally completely dependent on them, they one by one remove your support system, and now once you're alone, they start showing a different version of themselves. Again, their actions and words from the time you started the relationship till now, by now when you're in a committed relationship, are totally different, and you are seeing a new version of them as soon as you commit. And the last thing is that they try and break your confidence. Everything you do, everything you say, every point you bring in is actually a problem, and you're never good enough. Now, some of these traits can be in someone who is a psychopath or a sociopath or a narcissistic person, but it is not necessary someone who exhibits some of this should be labeled as any of those. But because those things need to be clinically diagnosed, and you can take help of a professional through counseling and psychiatric help. However, if you see these few signs and they are repeated, and you bring them up in a healthy discussion, and the person is not ready to receive your point of view, or if you are the one who are doing all of this to your partner, so it is time to sit back and understand why you're doing this, because no one is really bad, no one is really toxic. Everyone is looking for love, care, understanding, appreciation. Some cases can be really a psychological or a mental disorder. That's another story. But for most people, it is not that people want to be bad. In fact, people want to be nice. They want to be remembered as nice. But their trauma or their feeling of being abandoned, or the things that they have gone through either through childhood or can be a past life, or even their previous relationships may have left them wounded. So these are usually the wounds, but what makes it toxic is when the person is not ready to look at it and change them. then we have a problem at hand, because now we are dealing with a person who is making life difficult and knows it, but is not ready to change. That is the time you have to take a call and be strong and take a decision. I hope this video will serve you.